new year, but we never really stop, so we're bringing you 7 of the best games releasing in January 2018. And I'll be real with you, this January isn't really the hottest month for game releases. I guess we all need to catch up on games anyway. But still, there are a few saving graces on this list, so let's get started off with number 7. We have Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. This is releasing in the middle of January for PC and PS4, and it's essentially a re-release of Street Fighter V, now content complete. Street Fighter V initially had a lot of controversy, with people feeling like they got kind of slighted with a lesser game, but after multiple seasons have rolled out, Street Fighter V is now a fully fledged Street Fighter game, and for some fans it has pretty much reached the full potential of the original game. If you had only jumped into Street Fighter V back when it first released, there are a lot of changes here, not just added content, but little changes here and there to the actual quality of play. First and foremost, the UI has been completely overhauled. You also get second V triggers that can be selectable on the character select screen, which is pretty nice, and a bonus stage. Then, of course, you get the arcade mode that has 6 different modes within it that you can play through. It has the extra battle mode, a gallery of artwork for stuff from Street Fighter V, and, of course, the full roster of 28 characters. That includes the Season 1 and 2 DLC characters, but the Season 3 characters you're still going to have to pay for. And overall, whether or not it's like the best Street Fighter game is an argument for another video, but at least what you get here is the best version of Street Fighter V. If you gave it a chance at first, but you weren't really a fan, now there's a lot more going on, so maybe it's worth checking out again. But at number 6, we have Kirby Battle Royale releasing on 3DS right around the corner from Street Fighter V on January 19th. This is the North American release. The game has been out in Japan for quite a while, and it looks like it's received some mixed to good feedback from critics and players. Basically, what you get here is a Kirby game from HAL Laboratories, but this is essentially a top-down arena-based game where you play as Kirby and it's up to you to kind of just fend off other versions of yourselves. Now that sounds pretty good to me. Looking at gameplay and judging from that, it looks like it's just fun, simple brawler style gameplay, but what you do get here is a single player mode that you can fully play through, and multiplayer. Multiplayer, for me, just knowing these developers' history, this looks like where the game can really shine, so if you do have friends with 3DSs, you can play co-op and multiplayer battles, but you can also get online and play that way. It may not be a game for everyone, but specifically for fans of Kirby and brawlers. Personally, I think there's plenty of life left in the Kirby franchise, especially since you could do whatever, like weird spin-offs like this, so hey, if you want to kill stuff as Kirby, this might be your game. Now at number 5, we have The Inpatient. This is a game releasing for PSVR, so maybe if you were lucky enough to get one for Christmas, you could jump into this weird cerebral style horror game developed by Supermassive Games. Those are the guys behind the excellent Until Dawn from 2015, and The Inpatient essentially is a prequel to this, vaguely, taking place many years before. You play as this random character who's stuck in this Blackwood sanitarium with amnesia, and it's up to you to kind of just figure out your memories and figure out what's going on. You play in first person and you walk around, and there is a lot of focus on NPCs in this game and the way they look. With their engine, they do look fantastic, and they get right up in your face, and apparently they can respond to your voice with the microphone. Not only that, but the game has a lot of focus on 3-dimensional binaural audio to really get that immersive sound, just enough to really creep you out and unsettle you. It worked really well with Hellblade, and I think it'll work really well here, especially considering Supermassive, to me, really proved themselves with Until Dawn, so I can't wait to check this out. I would also really like to see them port this over to non-VR, but hey, that's wishful thinking. Now next at number 4, we have Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, finally releasing worldwide on January 30th for PS4. For those of you that don't know, what this is essentially the port of the arcade version from 2015, focusing around all the Final Fantasy characters battling it out. Now if you haven't played a Dissidia game, they're actually really cool. You just have to be really invested in all the Final Fantasy games. But what you get here is a collection of all of your favorite characters coming together and battling, and Dissidia Final Fantasy NT is a bit of a refresh of the formula of the previous ones. This one focuses on 3-on-3 combat, and players are able to switch between which character they control, and then the in-game AI will control the other 2. The developers have been targeting a total of 50 characters, which is pretty damn ambitious, but thankfully at least Final Fantasy as a franchise has plenty of good characters to choose from. There's a lot of good stuff here, so if you want to just kind of see and relive your favorite characters and mess stuff up, the previous games that I have touched and seen are really cool, so I'm really hoping NT is no different. Now next up at number 3, we have a game called Lost Sphere. This is a JRPG style game put out by Square Enix and developed by Tokyo RPG Factory, the new studio behind I Am Setsuna. If you guys played that last year, that's a pretty good RPG. What these guys essentially do is play on nostalgia a little bit and focus on the style of those classic PS1 top-down JRPGs, and they did it really well with I Am Setsuna, so I'm really hoping they have another hit and an even stronger hit on their hands with Lost Sphere. This game introduces you to a completely new world with a whole new cast of characters and an active time battle system, and ideally judging from the trailers and the gameplay, it seems like it's going to have pretty damn incredible visuals and music. There is a lot going on here with this one, but there's also a lot that we don't know yet. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it because it'll be good to play portably on Nintendo Switch, but you can also get it on PC or PS4, and that's dropping January 23rd. Now getting down to number 2, these are the games that are definitely going to make it this January, and the first one is Monster Hunter World. Judging from the beta, wow. We're not sure yet because we haven't played the final release, but we're hoping that this game does a good job of bringing in new Monster Hunter players and introducing new players to a game that is loved by so many people for very specific reasons, but it's also got to please those old hardcore fans. So far, early signs point to, yes, it will please both fans, even though it is fundamentally different, at least from a visual perspective. It looks way different from previous Monster Hunter games and a little bit more in line of what more casual players would expect going in. With a completely different graphical style, I think that'll rope some new players in. Because honestly, from what I've seen, the gameplay still looks like straight up 100% Monster Hunter gameplay, and that's not a bad thing. That's releasing on January 26th, and it's definitely one of our most anticipated games. Pretty much equally right up against with our number 1 spot with Dragon Ball FighterZ. This game is dropping on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on the same day, January 26th, and it looks incredible. The hype for this game has been out of this world for a reason. I mean, look at it. It really looks like our favorite anime come to life, but thankfully the fighting engine behind it also looks competent and fast enough and deep enough to warrant making it a real good fighting game. Now, whether or not the fighting game community will take this up and embrace it and you see this thing come in tournaments, we don't know for sure. But honestly, even if it doesn't become a hardcore fighting game, it looks like a great way to revisit some of our favorite characters and our favorite moments from all the different sagas and characters and events that we all probably pretty much know by heart by now. I mean, at least for the fans. And I may also be fanboying out a little bit, but I don't care. Since this has been announced, we have been keeping a very close eye on it, and we're really putting a lot of faith in Dragon Ball FighterZ. So we're hoping it's a good time, as well as the rest of the games on this list. These are our 7 best choices for the games that are worth playing, or at least paying attention to in January 2018. But of course, we want to know what you guys are playing, because there are a couple of other smaller releases that we weren't sure were worth mentioning, but we want to hear from you what you're playing in January. Of course, after January, things are going to heat up a little bit, so be sure to catch your bearings now. But let us know what you're thinking down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, clicking the like button does help us out. We really appreciate it. And if for some reason you're new, you should subscribe because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you.